Good morning again, everybody. Happy Saturday. Happy last Saturday of March 2025. This year is flying by. It is flying by. So, welcome back to the Inner Circle podcast, where real estate meets real life, hosted by yours truly, your homegirl Jillian. We are coming to you live on IntellectualRadio.com, their YouTube channel, and across my social media platforms. And if you missed the live show today, don't worry. This episode and all others are always available to stream anytime on IntellectualRadio.com's YouTube channel, iHeartRadio, and my social media platforms. So each week on the Inner Circle podcast, we bring you real talk and actionable insights on real estate, business, and life. And today's show was originally scheduled for last month as a final segment of the powerful conversation on navigating love, marriage, and business as a team. But due to scheduling conflicts, we're bringing it to you today, which I'm so excited we were able to pull this together and pull it off. So I'm joined by incredible people, an incredible couple, both people and a couple, Fallon and Obi Obamanu, who were real estate investors when they met, right? And now, as a married couple, they're continuing their journey, purchasing multi-unit properties together, investing in financial markets, and building generational wealth. So we'll talk about how they balance love and business, the challenges and rewards of investing as a couple, their long-term financial goals. So if you and your partner have ever thought about investing together or just want to learn how to build and grow wealth as a team, this episode is for you. And of course, we want you to be a part of the conversation. So call us live at 708-223-8953 with your questions or thoughts, whether you're already investing with your partner, thinking about taking that step, or just want some relationship and real estate inspiration, we've got you covered today. So as always, grab your coffee, your tea, or your mimosa, because everybody knows I love a good mimosa, and get comfy, and let's get into this conversation. So Fallon and Obi, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you guys. So I've a little bit of background. I've been knowing Fallon, has it been 10 years?
12.
It's been 12
I
years?
moved here in 2013.
12 years. So 12 years we met. Fallon is, I'm going to let her give her background and how she got to Chicago because she's not originally from Chicago. But Fallon and I have been friends for 12 years. Obi was blessed to come into our friendship family. And now, he's a brother, so we're so excited to have him. So I'll let them tell their story and their journey. And we'll do that now. So let's give our listeners and our viewers just a little bit of background about each of you individually, and then we'll talk about how you guys met and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. You go first.
I'm Fallon Obomanu, and I'm not even tripping on Jillian for messing up my last name because I still be practicing, and we've been married 3 years.
I love how she just had to. She's gonna correct me no matter what.
Look on my name. I mean, that was only it, and I'm still practicing. I was Fallon Pfeiffer for years, so it's totally fine. But she said I moved to Chicago 12 years ago, originally from California, born and raised, but really set out on my own as an adult, traveling for my career originally. Landed in Chicago because I moved to Arkansas for a couple of years, and Lord knows I knew that wasn't the destination.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect to be in Chicago this long, but part of what kept me here was friendship, real estate, and love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been blessed to have a whole community of amazing women that inspire me every day and have inspired me in my own personal investing goals. And then got blessed to meet Obi, my husband, where that continued.
Yeah. So originally from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised. I also, as a young adult, left home and started traveling. Joined the Navy at 18, and they tell you to go see the world. What they don't tell you is 75% of the world is water. So I got to see a lot of water.
Absolutely.
And so got out there, moved around quite a bit. Moved from Jacksonville to San Diego to LA. And what's really weird about me and Fallon, we missed each other quite a few times that we were moving around. So I moved to LA right as she was leaving LA, and then so she moved to Arkansas, and then I ended up from LA moving to Chicago, and then I've been here for probably the same amount of time. She's been here probably a few months longer than me, which is really interesting. So
even at one point we were neighbors, didn't know each other, and met on the internet. Yep. So it's crazy that what God has destined for your journey.
Absolutely.
She literally lived 4 doors down, and I had no idea.
I didn't realize that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
No, that's great. So you met online. I
Yeah.
think that's an important part of your journey, especially for those that are looking for love, right? And don't know where to find it, or
Yeah.
that are nervous and scared to get on the apps. So that's, I mean,
Listen, you know what I say about the apps, man? It's convenient. You pick it up when you feel like picking it up.
Right.
You put it down when you feel like putting it down.
That's
And you
true.
don't have to like overly invest in it. And the best part about it is that there's no emotional attachment. Swipe yes, no. Initial, whatever they're talking about. I'm either in it or I'm not.
Yeah,
And
but the bad thing about it is the fact that sometimes because these men are in this autopilot, that first encounter is no connection.
at
So
all.
oh,
you may
well,
be investing
I
a lot
did
of
it a little bit
time
different, right?
in the
So
swipes and the
Because
dates.
most this is totally, it's on topic but off topic. But
Mhm.
anyway, because women, when we go on the dating apps,
Mhm.
we're way more intentional. More
no,
you don't think so?
no, sure. If you say so, right? I just, I'll tell you
I
from my experience, uh, while I was dating, the intentionality that I received was somebody was looking for a meal,
Oh,
right?
Lord.
And so, but I digress. I'm not saying everybody is on that,
Mm.
right? I'm just saying that I went on a lot of first dates, but not a lot of second ones.
got you.
That's
Okay.
all I'm saying.
And that's fair from the pool of women that you were clearly matching with.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
Okay,
Correct.
right.
yeah. No, we'll blame that. Yep, I was matching the wrong,
The wrong
and
ones.
then I
That's
found the
right.
right
Yep.
one.
You
Mhm.
clearly you changed your
I changed my ways.
yeah, absolutely. You
I'm
changed your
referring.
ways, right? Absolutely.
I'm a new man now.
So,
Cheers, America.
I'm a new man now.
so two things that you guys didn't get into is what you do.
Oh yeah.
Well, because Fallon never lets me tell
She does
people
not like
what.
talking about it.
No, she doesn't
But
let
she's
me
like a
tell
rock star.
people what she does because I always make her pretty much like the CEO of
She might
the
as well be.
I know, but I'm gonna let you guys share with the people what exactly you do professionally.
Go ahead.
No, of course you toss it to me. So I'm an operations manager for the local utility, local power utility.
Yeah, and I work in sales. I lead a team in the consumer healthcare industry.
As a VP.
As a VP, she always
She
leaves that
always leaves
title
that
out.
part out, right?
So
But you need to put the respect on your name.
That's right.
That I am VP of sales and I deal with da 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 da. And like it should all flow. I'm now I love this woman and I'm married to her. I don't really know what she does. And that's cool. But I know that she's really good at it.
She's the best.
I know she's really good at it. And I know that she's like, I mean, she leads people in a way. Like when sometimes you see people lead, she leads with a level of empathy and love and understanding in people, which is really, really important because not everybody does that, right? Like a lot of people get so focused on the goal, but she focuses on the people so that they want to be invested in the goal. And so she gets a lot done and like organically. It's really interesting.
But it's who she is. I'm
It is who
like,
she is
so
as a person.
this is both of us giving your flowers
Wow.
now. But I'm just like, but it's, I
So
mean,
real estate.
right? No, but this all, I mean, it's gonna spill over into the conversation about
sure.
real estate. But I'm like, he's 100% right. That's who you are is reflective in what you do. Just being around you and even talking to you, we can be talking about something social, but you will find a way to kind of input your professional background. So it's easy for us to see, oh, this girl she's this way 24/7.
Mhm.
Like it's just who you are.
It is.
It is.
I appreciate. I'm a reflection of my community.
You
as
are.
represented by my friends and husband.
You are.
So
You are.
We
very
all are, I
blessed.
think.
Yeah.
Somebody told me one time you're a reflection of the 5 people you hang around with the
Oh,
most.
correct.
And so like a rising tide lifts all ships. So like if you've got those people around you, it's gonna pull you up. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. No, but she inspirational. Like I think you are the first person that I've known in that sales background to the degree, and just seeing you navigate your career and advance, and some of the clients and the products and stuff that you've dealt with, like it's been inspirational to see and hear you talk and how passionate you are. So when you do talk about it, so I guess I realized I never told you that, or we never talk about it, but just I think it's always good for your friends and your family to acknowledge how good you are at what you do, and we all see it and we support you. Ob, same thing for you. I know you are killing it. Can we say your company or you don't?
I don't know. That's why I didn't say it.
Oh, Obi works for ComEd, and he, like he said, operations management. But I know he's advanced in what he's done. He's helped a lot of people. grow and develop in their career. So, and you same for you. So I think that's something.
And a proud member of Omega Psi
And
Phi.
I was gonna throw that out there because I know how involved. Not even a proud member. He is extremely involved, and I know there's probably some sort of like national president spot coming up.
No,
sometime soon.
no. I just stepped out of the bossless seat at my chapter. Now I'm just moving more toward. Sometimes when you're in a leadership position, you can't touch all the things that you want to touch, and so for me, I realized like there's holes, there's gaps, and I was like, let me fill these gaps that I know that are out there, so that the next guy, who had just happened to be my line brother, Vince Days, shout out to Vince, and so. I want us to be successful, but I know that if we don't fill those gaps, that we won't. And so I've decided, like, okay, I'll step back from that leadership position because I have the knowledge to fill those gaps. I'll fill those gaps, and then when we're caught up, maybe I might swing back around to it. I might not. It might, depends on who's there.
He's so intentional.
He is. I love it though. He's got a vision and a plan. But your work to Omega Psi Phi and just in the community and mentoring all of that, like so. I respect that about you. I appreciate about that from you, especially being a Black man in our community, whether it be fraternity or just you doing it because of out of your own will. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, absolutely. I don't roses, lilies. I don't know what kind you like, but right, it's all of the flowers. So let's get into a little bit about the real estate aspect. So when you guys met, both of you all own property, right?
We did.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about
and
that.
And we both were super cagey about it. It was very interesting because like she doesn't want to say what she does. I don't want to say what I do. She doesn't want to say what she owns. I don't want to say what I own.
This is when you guys were dating?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was very much like to the point of dating online. You don't always want to feel like you're revealing yourself to every person that you're coming across. And like as you become more accomplished, I felt like I needed to be more cagey and protective about what I shared with men because women aren't the only one looking for men.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So I was like very much guarded. So it was funny to watch me and him do that same dance and then realize like, oh, we actually have like the same stuff going on.
Yeah.
So we could probably
just be open.
I ended up calling her out on it. I was like, all right, enough. Because she would say like if she would say things that would be weird, right? And I'd be like,
I would say I sell drugs.
That's what she and she would say it as a drug. Like she'd be like, oh, I'm a drug dealer. I sell drugs. And I'd be like, all right, come on, enough. What do you do, right?
Because you were trying to figure out
who she was as a person.
Right.
And so like she would do this whole deflection dance on like, oh well, I sell drugs. And I was like, all right, enough. No, but what do you do? And then so she said, okay, so I work. She would say something like, I work with Walgreens. Right. And then so I'd say, all right, enough. If you worked at Walgreens, you'd say you worked at Walgreens, right? If you, and I always gave her this analogy. I always say, if you are a CNA, you'll tell people you work in the medical field. But if you're a nurse, you tell people you're a nurse. And if you're a doctor, you tell people you're a doctor.
Right.
I know that you are the doctor of your field. Don't play with me. I know what's going on here.
Things that people don't lead with on first dates unless they're trying to be obnoxious. I'm a very established sales professional who is also a real estate investor. Things that we're going to say. But what we did discover is that we were both real estate investors.
Right.
Unknowingly didn't get into it, I think intentionally that way. But then like it became like a joint passion.
Sure. I think your dad talked you into it.
Yeah.
And
right.
A chick I was talking to and talked me into it, like just not even knowingly.
She exposed you to it.
She dropped the idea of it for me, and the thing that she said, which I thought was pretty interesting, was she was like, "What if you could find a way to pay for your biggest bill? How do you set that up?"
Yeah.
And then so then she was like, "What I would do is I would get a multi-unit property, and then that way you live in one, you have the other ones as some kind of income, and then so I was like, well, let me see if I can run some numbers and make it happen for me." And so that's how I initially got into my building. Was okay, I'll live in the first floor, I'll rent out the other two, and then we'll see how that plays out. And then I didn't end up with any like crazy amount of money extra, but it was something extra,
right?
And, it was a little extra.
And you had a huge asset.
Yeah. I mean, well, sure, you're looking at it from, but I wasn't nowhere near
no, you
that.
weren't.
I
Right.
was like, how do I pay for these trips? I want to go to Cancun.
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah. No, you like, how do I pay
how
for
do I
my
pay for these
lifestyle?
flights? Yeah.
And
So
because that was how many years ago? Yeah, you owned your building?
2017, April
Okay.
2017.
Okay.
I got in there.
Okay.
May
So about 8 years.
2016.
Yeah. So you weren't looking at it as this is the entry to what could be a larger
No, not at
investment
all.
and
I
retirement
was
strategy and
I
all
was
of that.
100% trying to save money on my bills at that time.
Gotcha.
And sometimes what they say, sometimes you take the short steps and then you can see the vision.
hmm
And then so I just took a step, and then next I was like, oh, this was a really good idea. I really need to do more of this.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
And then I'll kind of want to take a step back and I'll ask you this question in a minute, Obi, but let's talk about your dad. Because I know he exposed you to a lot in Cali. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so my father has been in real estate all my life. Lawrence Pfeiffer, shout out to him. He literally started his career working in IT, was working for IBM, and shortly after I was born, he got laid off. And that was the inflection point that he was like, I'm never going to let a company decide whether or not I could feed my family. And took the savings that he had and invested into his first trap house. Like this trap house, I have to call it that because me as a newborn baby, he still tells the story to this day. He was so proud that he had invested in this like beautiful thing that he was going to turn over, brought me to it. Like, look at the legacy I'm building for you. And I shouted in tears because I was like, I don't belong in this neighborhood, right? But if that was any entry, like my dad from the beginning was trying to expose me to building generational wealth. And I honestly, at that time, I didn't get it.
Yep.
It did not resonate. All I thought was like, my dad works really hard, like working for the city of Los Angeles, working nights. When he gets off, he comes, he drops us to school, then he's working on the building. It just represented him always being gone.
Mhm.
So I didn't put together like that being a future for me. And as I said, I'm from California originally. California real estate is high.
Insane.
So by the time I like got my degree, started my career, I was more focused on that as the avenue for wealth building. And like, I always felt like, well, that was my daddy's dream. Let me build my own. But then fast forward, I get to Chicago. I'm really starting to hit my strides in my career. And I was more so just looking for like comfort of like, I've reached a certain level of establishment. I'm tired of paying rent. I want to like have my own place and like build equity long term, but I wasn't thinking about it investment wise. And I just happened to be going home to visit my dad that weekend and showing him all these condos that I thought like were the bomb. And he was like, girl, you ain't buying no condo. Sit down. Like, let me show you how this is about to go down. And we just like that night we're on Zillow, like not even like a professional search, just showing me the math of like how even buying a 3-unit could be a multiplier of my wealth in a more intentional way. And that like sparked it. When I came back, I like changed the whole search with my agent at the time of like, no more condos. I only want to see 3 units, and then landed the property of my dreams. And it's been it for ever since.
Yeah. And what about you? Did your family, your parents, or
So my sister, she and I lived together at one point, and so she got out and bought a 2-unit when she moved away, and then so by that time I started looking, and then I got my 3-unit. My dad originally, he was trying to press us when I threw the idea out that was something that I was interested in. He was trying to get us to get a 2-unit together, and then one of us move out to go get the next one. But she had her ideas of what would be good for her, and I had my ideas of what would be good for me. And so obviously we went our own separate ways, but that's kind of how we kind of split off and did our own things.
Right. So when you guys got married, or even as you were dating, did the conversations, because even as you're dating, you talk about what your goals are, financial goals are. If I was to get married, these are some of the things that I would want to do. Not real estate, whether it was retirement plans, whatever. Did you guys have those conversations?
So we did. If you don't mind,
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna share this.
Yeah,
story.
please.
So, one day it's like a Sunday morning. We're laying in the bed and we're talking about something. I get an email for the house that we got right now, and so that was the point that we talked. Like we had to have the conversation about money, and so but prior to that, I think it was understood she's got something going on. And I think she could lean on me to say, okay, I know he's got something going on, but you don't know what the numbers are, right? So
Right.
you kind of in your head, you put a number to it and you're like, she's probably at least making what I'm making, right? Or something like that.
Let me interrupt you, because actually this sparks a larger conversation, and I don't know if we've ever had it, but when you're dating or you're building this relationship with somebody, at what point do you open up and start talking about what you make? Because it sounds like both of you all were kind
When
of
you
guarded.
need to spend money together. That's
Correct.
When you do.
When you so are you saying you all didn't really get into it until it was time to
Until
buy
it
the
was
house?
time to spend money together.
Listen, I feel like what we both knew is that we were capable of sharing weight, right? Like
Mhm.
I knew he was individually responsible. I could witness that and how
Right.
he took care of his own
He was
life
able to take care of
and
himself.
people that he cared about, like family members. I saw him be able to extend himself. So I knew he had capacity outside of him, and he's a father. And I knew what I was capable of. So I was like, we don't need to talk that until like there's actual blending of that.
Yeah.
But I also was kind of like, we ain't never gonna blend that, so I ain't gotta worry about it. So when he like cold clocked me over the head, was like, listen, lady, numbers. It's time for us to talk.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like terrified.
She was absolutely.
Terrified.
You had
But
never told
you were-
anybody what you made prior
Other
to that.
than Lawrence Pfeiffer.
Yeah, nobody knew.
No
But
one knew.
you were terrified to open that up to somebody else, to expose what I make or what I'm worth
Yeah.
to somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like to risk being vulnerable, but also like risk like how that would make him view me.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, candidly, like there are men who can be intimidated by successful women. I didn't see him as being that, but there's something about like just saying numbers out loud
Mhm.
that could make me be like, I don't know where this is gonna go. So it just felt like at that moment we were completely naked with each other.
Yeah, it
Like,
was.
Mhm.
Yeah, like at that point we had seen each other with no clothes on, but
Mhm.
never seen each other naked.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was an interesting moment because I think like her, I hadn't really told anybody. Like I had told like maybe my sister because I
Mhm.
was like excited
Yeah.
about getting a job or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But like never like Cole, like, hey, these are the numbers. This is what I pull in a
Mhm.
year. These are all the ways I get my money coming in. What do you think about that? And so of course she was, well, I didn't know this, but at the time, but she was making more than me, right? I was like, oh, it was that much more. Oh my God. Oh, I hit the jackpot.
All right.
But see, that's what women. But that's what women you're
Be
afraid of, right?
Right. I
Fallon,
mean, but to his testament, like the man didn't make me feel uncomfortable. Like I said the numbers, he said the numbers, and we both were just like, okay, collectively, this number could do a lot.
Could do a lot,
of
right?
damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it then shifted, not thinking about just like our own individual.
Individual.
We really started thinking about the collective.
Yep.
And I think what was powerful about that conversation wasn't just what we had coming in; it challenged us to think also about our debt.
Yeah.
And how we were going to be managing that strategy. Because especially if we were thinking about buying a house together,
Yeah.
we were like, we're about to disclose to our agent, to an attorney,
everything.
that these people are going to know everything
So
about
all
us.
your
we need to,
business,
line
yeah.
our stuff up. I'm not gonna lie though, I did make this little kiddie pool and I put a bunch of ones in it. And I was swimming in it like Scrooge.
Oh, right.
What?
I said I hit it. I
Oh,
have hit
God.
the lottery. She's beautiful, she's smart, and she got money. Come on, man, we good.
He
I'm
takes
out
my
here.
money.
Right. That's all I'm thinking. That's all I'm thinking. Jamie Foxx.
Look, you know what though? I was more excited that I didn't inherit a bill. Like I didn't inherit a liability.
Mm-hmm.
I inherited an asset.
Yep.
In a person.
Absolute mentality practices,
like
everything.
so many different
Yes.
ways. And so, like, not to say that that if you choose that for yourself, then that's good. But for me and my lifestyle, that's not what I was looking for. I wanted somebody who I could be in partnership.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be here, meet somebody who's here,
and then I gotta help
pull
you
to here, and then maybe together we're able to go here. I wanted to be here. I meet them here,
and then let's try to figure out
here, and then,
right.
Now she's pulling me up, but we're together.
Right.
No, I'm just joking. But all jokes aside, we're here, and then now the moon is
right.
There's no stopping.
Right.
Right. And so like I was extremely excited about being able to invest in a partner like that. That was super exciting to me.
So as you look back though, I mean, over these years, would you do that differently? Now, I mean, that we just talked about how the conversation came about. Do you feel like you would have changed and been more open?
No.
With each other?
No.
Okay, you wouldn't have changed anything.
No. Because like being that level of vulnerability into how you live your life daily, right? Because that answers a lot of questions about what you do and the choices that you make from a day-to-day perspective, right?
Yeah.
And to let somebody into that, somebody can do a lot of damage with that,
Mhm.
right? And so like you don't want to put yourself on on a ledge and then allow somebody to be able to push you over
Mhm.
because they know how you operate, or you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
That certain things should just be
Yeah.
kept to you.
I think it was like a building block for us, like calibrating to a next step. But if you're not about to take that step, what is that conversation serve?
Mhm.
So like to me, all it would have done was inform us delaying the decision to buy a house, thinking about when we would get married. Like it would have helped shape and like cement where we were headed.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a necessary for us to build our connection and like relation to each other.
No, yeah, it definitely did. We had already built the connection. I
Mhm.
think this was just
What do we
putting
do
the
with
ice.
it?
What we do with it?
Right.
Is he gonna be my homie lover friend or my man?
Right. Or my husband.
Or my husband.
Man for $700.
Okay, yes, clearly.
Or my man friend. So when you guys were entering into home ownership together, right? You both each individual had your own investment properties. So home ownership, you thinking about buying this house. Was your house, I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it. Did you go into it as this is our dream house, this is our forever house?
Can I do this?
Yes, please.
Okay, so he had just recently asked me to move in with him, which was I'd never done that in terms of moving in with the man and letting go of my space. Like I had moved in with a guy before, but it was like, yeah. But like if he started acting up, my house is right down the
Right.
street. This was like, oh, I'm gonna put my unit up for rent. Like I'm
Mhm.
gonna like pack up my things. Like this is like terrifying. So my mind was already like, I can't be in his house forever. Like
Mhm.
we got to figure out where we're gonna live together because there was just this unease of like immersing myself in his space and like losing myself to some degree.
Not control, but
Yeah.
independence and all of that, giving
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
So I was like kind of just like in this like I got to figure out how we're gonna build our space together.
Mhm.
So when he like was like, hey, I found this like listing and I know you want to be in Bronzeville. I know you want to like have this kind of house. We should just go check it out. I was just like, oh, I think that this is interesting that he wants to take that first step. Little did I know he like nailed it. It was like I didn't look at any other house. It was like
Mhm.
he was
That was
so
the only
affirming.
house that you
was
guys-
the
That was
only
Really?
house
I
we
didn't
looked
know
at.
that. Okay.
Our realtor and bestie Monique.
Shout out to Monique
Shout out to
Neal, who
Monique.
was
She
on the
was
show a few
Yep.
weeks ago.
She
Yes.
was.
Yes.
Monique was very much as a good agent being like, y'all need to see other places. Like, this is not how this works.
I would agree.
I need
yeah.
you to see other things.
But when you know, you know. I
we
mean, I know that
knew.
as a realtor as well. Some people know, and I know I can't challenge you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
She
but yeah.
walked in and she walked through the house the first time, and the guy was walking us through, and he was whatever, and he just got just a little bit ahead where he was out of earshot, and
Mhm.
she turned around at me. She goes, "I want this house," and I go, "Oh, okay, well." We'll see. Let's see how it goes or whatever. And the price was good. The timing
Yes.
was good.
Mhm.
It really just worked out for us at that time.
Yeah.
It was
good.
perfect.
It was
And
perfect.
I always
But I will say that she does not believe this is our forever.
it is not our forever home. I was just
I-
about to say
and-
that.
Yeah.
Winning, this is the starter house.
Yeah, I would have
Stop
never
saying
said.
that.
It is
But
absolutely
well,
the
it's
starter
not.
house.
I don't know that I would call it. It's a starter. It's starter house. It is definitely not a starter home.
It is a starter
They
house.
live in a
Absolutely.
beautiful home
It is
in
beautiful.
Bronze. Is
In
that considered?
Bronzeville.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
considered Bronzeville. I didn't know if it was Oakland, Bronzeville,
It's
but it's
Bronzeville,
Bronzeville.
yeah.
They live in a beautiful home in Bronzeville. Was it rebuilt or rehabbed?
Rehab.
It was rehabbed
It
from
was a
top
trap
to
house
bottom.
It also
It
was
is-
a trap house.
It
It
was
comes full
absolutely
circle.
a
Oh,
trap house.
Jesus.
Hey, Daddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like
But she keeps saying that it's a starter home,
It is.
and that is her privilege that she
Mhm.
lives in.
Yeah.
right.
For the rest of us who live in the real world, we know that her apartment that she lived in.
I would have said that was
her
more of her starter home. The condo, yeah, for
Yes.
sure. Would have
And then
been.
when we moved into this was our marital home.
Mm.
You know, we can say that. And if we, grow past that, then cool. But please stop diminishing the gains of that house by calling it a starter home, because most people would not call
But
it a starter
in
home.
her defense, I mean, it's a starter home for you all, for y'all, for the relationship, for the marriage, for being a couple. It's the first house that you guys moved in.
Okay, all right, take
So,
us-
and
all right.
knowing that this is not the forever home,
It is not
right?
forever.
So it's the starter home for you guys
Yes.
and your relationship. Absolutely.
This is going to sound loony, and I'm okay with that. But I feel like delusion is a powerful motivator. I feel like sometimes people like calibrate themselves based on what is around them and what they know, and that could be limiting.
Mhm.
And sometimes I think you have to like just dare yourself to be a little delusional,
Mm-hmm.
because it might stretch you
Right.
outside. And I need a lot of that from you. Like I would say I'm way more conservative
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
than he is,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
but I have like a little bit of delusion that guides me to give me permission to think I could do anything. So
Mhm.
I have the delusion of thinking a 5-bedroom home is a starter home. And there's that.
There is that. That's a lot to unpack. That's a lot to unpack. I wouldn't say you guys definitely didn't move into what we in the real estate world would consider a starter home.
That's fair.
You moved into a home that was starting off for your relationship.
That's fair.
But it meets all of your needs.
It does.
They like to entertain.
We do.
Their son comes. I'm like, so it is for family, for friends, and everything. You got the perfect house that meets both your needs.
Yeah.
I knew I could answer. I didn't think that was going to be your forever home, just because I don't know that you all are staying in Chicago for
That's fair.
one, and then two, I can see you just wanting a change. Both of you all, from getting to know you, Obi, what I know about Fallon, I could see a change coming probably within the next 5 years.
Probably.
So as you all have,
Fingers crossed for Costa Rica.
okay. So that's would that be like you planning to live, or would that be an investment property?
The cost of living in Costa Rica is significantly cheaper
Absolutely.
than it is here in the U.S. And so the thought process behind that is that if we make a specific amount of money, we get to whatever that number
Mhm.
is. Could we back away and then go and live there? Go buy our banana farm or whatever. I don't know what it'll be, but go live overseas and then just kind of wake up to the beaches and the sunrises and stuff like that. I feel like that eventually is my dream. Like, I'm not gonna say that that's where I'm at right now,
Mhm.
and not even in the next 5 years. I don't think I'm there, but one day I
Mhm.
think that, and maybe it's not Costa Rica, maybe it's Panama, maybe it's whatever. There's several places,
Right.
insert name here, that
Yeah.
you could go and then you live for significantly less based off of whatever your income is. And
Mhm.
I've done a little bit of research into that just because I'm excited to see what that looks like. So,
Okay. No, so and that just makes me think to this next question is, you all, for one, they are world travelers. You guys are both investors. You own your own home ownership. So what has real estate, being a homeowner and being landlords, taught you guys about real estate? Period.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say even before we got together, like managing that level of responsibility outside of my career was like a crazy step changer, because you think of it when people say that having property is passive investing. I don't think that they've ever been a landlord. There's
At all.
nothing passive.
That's really
about
why I wanted to get into this question, because I wanted to know if we're going to walk down this lane of talking about you in this 3-unit and the challenges that I
Yes.
know that you've had.
You've had quite a few.
Just because I get that question. You all know I work with a lot of investors. I champion investment, period, as far as real estate, as far as building generational wealth.
Yeah.
But it's not all roses, right? As far as the management piece.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I again, novice, felt fully prepared to invest in this. Thought like, oh yeah, I'll just find some tenants. Like my dad did this. This is easy. Like I could do this in my sleep. Could not. I took for granted that my dad at the height, I think, was managing 16 doors
Mhm.
while having a full-time job and children, which is why I'm like, oh, it's just me and 2 people that live above me. This is going to be a cakewalk. I didn't take enough care and diligence into vetting my tenants. The first time around. I was so excited about filling the units that I really didn't take regard with like how it would have been more advantageous for me to have vacancies longer than for me to take a lease on that like could have meant I had a lot of hardship trying to get someone out. And very different where your property is this like abject like distant thing from you, when you're living in the 3-unit and someone is not paying rent over your head. Like you're coming home after working 9 to 5, blood, sweat, and tears, and somebody is dancing around, not paying you a dime while you're trying to figure out how to get them out, and the complex laws that exist in Chicago. It was maniacal, but it was an expensive lesson. but it also like humbled me on how I had to balance the compassion of this business and the business aspect of it, right? Like I take a lot of pride in the fact that me and Obi offer low income housing to communities that look like us. But at the end of the day, like that is still an exchange of value. And I couldn't allow my emotion to get in the way of me running that business.
I think for me, 100% right. What I've noticed is the tenants that you have while you're living there are not going to be the tenants that you have when you move
Correct.
away. And so, like, if you're living in the unit, there's a tendency to people to do a little bit more. They spend a little extra time. They might be a little bit extra courteous with your stuff. The moment you move away, they become completely different people.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think I'm at this point I'm blessed to have some pretty good tenants, but in the past they were not. It was not always that way, right? I mean, so a couple things that I learned. One, like she said, vet the people that you put into your properties. Period. And don't always just go off of the credit report because people lie. They'll send you off to their best friend who will answer the phone and say, yeah, they were the greatest tenants in the world. Meanwhile, whole time they getting ready to get kicked out by their current landlord. You just don't know about it. It got to the point where I started going on their Facebook or Instagram to go see who they were. If I saw money anywhere or guns anywhere, or you smoking weed, if you're gonna smoke weed online, I know you can violate whatever.
Absolutely.
So no, I'm not bringing you into my stuff. The other piece to it is it's either feast or famine when things break down. You will go months and everything will be okay, and then it'll be a refrigerator in one unit, a washer in another unit. You'll have the stove go out. On Christmas Eve, we were leaving to go on vacation, and I get a call from my tenant like, "Hey, my stove stopped working." Like, you can't prepare for that. You can't be, you know what I'm saying? And so like this poor girl, she's trying to cook her Christmas dinner and she can't even, set it all up. So here I am trying to make something shake with, hey, listen, can somebody we're online trying to see how quickly we can get the stuff to them. And of course, it's Christmas, right?
Christmas,
so nobody's going to move fast to get you anything. You know what I mean? So like you have to be grateful for the patience of the people that you're working with.
Yeah.
Right. But then they also have to be understanding of, what the scenario that you're in. And so like, I've had all kinds of scenarios, man. I had a pipe bust one time and had to cut the water off in my whole unit for everybody.
Which impacts everybody in the building. Yes, inconvenience, right?
And so like the thought process for me was like, okay, I'm going to go get some waters. So I bought everybody a case of water so that, we were supposed to be out for 3 days, and also bought them a couple of jugs of water. Hey, this is just to get you by in the meantime. I know it's not going to be exactly what you're looking for, but appreciate your patience. And nobody complained. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes
that's what it is. It's the balancing the compassion with the obligation that you have to them.
Well, it's also another form of business, right? It's a responsibility. This building, so and property management is it's operations. It's customer service. It's marketing at some point when you get a tenant, and then it's vetting. It's the screening. All of it. It's a bit. It is a business.
And and it's not a everyday business, so
right?
It is passive in some form, but like when you're working, you're working.
Yeah, no, working, absolutely. You're working, doing it. Yeah.
There's no getting away from it.
Yeah. So, what are some of the financial lessons that you guys have learned from each other since combining your assets?
So Fallon is risk adverse.
Oh, okay.
She does not like taking risk at all. And if you do take risk, you need to have a plan in place that is going to mitigate that risk.
Right.
And so like our conversations are, hey babe, I found this property. I think it'll be good. And she'll go, oh, okay, let me see the numbers. She's a numbers girl. Them numbers better number.
Right.
Or she's out off top. And so she goes and she looks at the numbers and she's like, oh, this would be good. But this part right here, this worries me. Or this part right there. And so like what I have learned to do is I'll try to outthink her. Right. I'm like, okay, she's going to ask him. I know this is sketch. She's going to ask about this. So yes, you're right. That is a little bit of this. However, we need to think about it in this way or whatever. And so like, and I don't think I'm out of pocket by saying this. In our relationship, right? She is the ground person, and I'm the dreamer.
Right. Okay.
And so she
1000%.
And
she
that's typical. That's normal.
she grounds me because I'll take off and go
Right.
like, oh, this is great. I think this is a wonderful
You like
idea.
opportunity.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, opportunity, but
right.
we got this. And so,
but you need that's the balance,
that's the balance
of your relationship. You
how
need
our
that.
relationship
Yeah.
is. So I think that I'm willing to take the risk to see the reward, and sometimes I win, and then she's willing to consolidate the gains and plan what that next move is going to be. So I find the risk, she consolidates, and then we plan from there. I think is the best way to describe kind of how we operate.
Okay.
Oh, nope, I'm wrong.
You have a
no, I don't think that's right. He's absolutely right. He's the dreamer and I'm the grounder. I think I've learned a lot in my career about the level of research and intentionality it takes to like make calculated bets. So there's very much like low risk things that like I've been like, okay, you had a friend who was investing in bike business that it was like it was a modest investment. I'm like, for a friend, like that's an easy risk for us to take. When we're talking about investing tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's one that's going to take more diligence for me. I appreciate the fact that he's always stretching us to think about the destination of where we could grow as a couple. But I also appreciate that like I'm able to calibrate us not losing what we've already earned, because I feel really proud of how successful we already are. So like part of me is like I want to preserve that and modestly grow it versus taking a large swing that could risk it.
Yeah. No, and that's smart, right? That's smart. Instead of putting it all on the line, you all have worked hard for what you have and you've made some smart decisions. And that could be because you're not quick to pull the trigger on I don't want to say the next best, not best, but the quick investment that a friend has. Like you just got to vet everything.
And I'll say this, I mean, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. He's lucky. Fallon's not lucky. Fallon works really hard. Fallon like takes like lots of due diligence to make decisions, and the bets that I've made have paid off. But he's like a very intelligent man who also is just lucky. He's won the lottery.
Oh,
I am his wife. Like he is like a very lucky person, right? So like in my mind, I just like I know he has like for sure confidence when he leans into something that it's like I haven't failed yet, so just believe in me. And I'm like, and I do. But this luck requires tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, I want to balance his luck, my wit, and like find like what's the right next investment for our future.
That was funny.
That was great. But that actually kind of segues me into the next question. So what is your current investment strategy? What are you guys talking about now? Like
so we had to change things. So one, we also realized that because we are kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum on how we look at money, we needed a third opinion.
Okay.
So, and so we did, and shout out to John.
I was just going to say, enter John.
John
McCall. Yeah. So John McCall works for?
I'm Edward Jones.
Edward Jones, right.
Yeah. And so talked to John, brought him in. He gave us some strategies on some stuff that we can do. And then he was like very like smooth on the intro. Like we had been trying to talk to financial advisors in the past, and they're always so pushy, and they're trying to push you on one particular product. And so that product may not be what's in the best interest of us. Like we're smart enough to do enough research on that kind of stuff. So when we brought John in, he was like really smooth about it and like really pointed us in the direction of some stuff. So we got some stock stuff going with him. We've been looking at some multi-units, trying to play the games there a little bit. But it's
acquiring businesses.
Looked at acquiring businesses. Looked at the laundromats and car washes.
That's very lucrative. The laundromat. I'm getting more of those. If you can get in, I've been having that conversation lately a lot.
And
but
they want you to have a lot of money.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, like $300,000-$400,000.
Yeah.
So like I haven't even brought that to you because they want $300,000-$400,000 up front. But it's crazy.
I mean, to your point of like, investment strategy and where we head next, I do think that because of our different styles, us bringing somebody in, like John is not just a financial advisor,
Yeah.
he's a marriage counselor
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he reads between the lines of like our differences. He appeals to like my research of like, I know Fallon needs a lot of information before we make this decision, but he also like knows how to like connect to Obi of like, here's like the things that like we need to draw from your experience, and here's where we should be leveraging you more. So like I appreciate that we have him, because I think he's like the right balance as we like evaluate our other opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I think having that third person to balance you out, especially because you guys both come from two different perspectives in terms of money and investing, is having that third person is key. Yeah.
I'm like, when when one of us is walking around like we made it, and the other one's like it's not good enough. I'm like, someone's got to find the middle.
She feels good, like she's like, I'm comfortable, I'm good. And then we had a conversation about money, and I had to tell her, I was like, I know. Matter of fact, it was about auto pay, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Auto pay.
Oh God.
I was terrified of auto pay.
And why?
It's absurd, correct?
First of all, relax, both of y'all. Okay?
No, yes.
So auto pay for me is like somebody reaching into my pocket and pulling my money out.
Correct.
I did not like the idea
of giving up the control of somebody else to take it.
Take it. And so she had to like sit me down and say, well, when's the last time you didn't have it to pay a bill?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, but you don't understand. In my mind and in my heart, really, right? In my mind and in my heart, I feel like I'm one paycheck away from poverty.
That's
I feel like poverty is on my heels and I'm running from it daily. And I can't. There's no outpacing it. There is no it's there, looming, always looking over the shoulder. I'm waiting on you to trip, right? And so because I feel like that about money, right? The idea of somebody coming to take it, it just was too much for me. So she obviously got me comfortable with the idea, and it is good now, right? It is good, but for somebody who's not into that, which there are tons and tons of people out there who look at that process and they're like, no, absolutely not. You're not going to come in on what if I forget or I go to dinner and I spend a little too much or whatever. So many ways it can go wrong when you don't have what you need together. So like, it freaked me out. I'm less freaked out about it, but I will tell you that when I operate my my buildings, there's nothing on auto pay. I absolutely pay everything.
So that's where you're keeping your control is with the buildings.
On the 5th of every month, I'd be right there. Like, oh, okay, you go here, you go there, you go there. This is my savings. All right, I got enough for the next time. Good.
So let me ask, and I'm sure you're not the only person that feels like this, and especially with where you are in your career, why do you feel like you're one paycheck from poverty?
Well,
where did that come from?
Well, because I came up out of poverty. I got it out the mud. That's the truth, right? I'm from Detroit. I grew up on the west side of Detroit. In middle school, I was wearing Eagles from Payless. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't have a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? And so, not to say that we didn't have what we needed, because we always able to put food on the table. My pops was real good about that, making sure that we fed and were able to do the things that we needed to do. But like, I still know that there wasn't always there, right? And so like part of that for me stems back to that. Like, I don't know when I won't be able to have it, and so when it does come up, I want to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? So it took, right, because I'm less frustrated with that situation.
Or now. your word, and not, I don't want to say if worry is the right word, but you all as a couple, you're able to lean into her more, or you all you've got to offset that.
It offsets how I feel about it.
Right.
But it's still like
it's still in the back of your mind.
And so and I don't think it doesn't matter how much money I make. I think I'll always have some sense of that mindset that poverty is right there. It's one bad decision away. You just have to be prepared to make good decisions so that you and your family don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Well, when we look at some of the biggest, and especially Black business individuals and where they came from, that's what keeps them motivated, is because of where they came from.
Absolutely.
And it's always at the back of their mind of where they've been and how I can easily slip back there. And it doesn't even have to be millionaires. It could be me 2 years ago where I was, and I don't want to ever go back there. So those things that keep you motivated, absolutely.
So and so like the one good way of kind of leveraging the knowledge of that is to think about how many people win the lottery, and then a year later, how much of those people actually keep that money, right? It's actually very scary to see that these people get millions of dollars, and then within a year, it's all gone. And not to say that we make bad decisions, because we definitely
And
don't.
here's all I would offer, right? I completely understand that my husband operates as if poverty is on his heels. I also know that every day we encounter tough situations and we get through them, right? Whether they be emotional, financial, like relational, whatever, like we get through them. And so to me, I operate in my delusion and comfort that like even if we stumble, we're going to be fine.
Right.
I remember when I made a tenth of the money that I did now, and I was fine.
Right.
So even when I think of like, if I had to take a different job, if I got laid off, if I got a pay cut, if we lost the building, I still know there's no scenario where I'm not going to have what I need. I remember growing up, I would say that we were like, like Black middle class. I don't know if that like classified in all of America,
Right.
but I mean, I definitely had like friends who like lived in low income housing. And I also had other friends who like lived in Bixby Knolls, which was like the Beverly Hills of Long Beach. And we like squarely were like comfortable. And like, sure, there were moments where I was like grateful I wasn't in the situation of some friends and jealous that I wasn't in others. But the reality is, no matter what zone you sit in, it's enough. And so we've traveled the world enough to me to have perspective of how many people
And
across
how they
the globe
live.
don't have a pinch of what we have. So that's where every time I think of him carrying this worry of poverty be on his back, I try to reinforce and comfort him that even if we lose it all tomorrow, we are enough.
I love that. Yeah, I
Which is
love
good
that.
life.
I love that. Are these conversations that you guys are having with Elijah? That's their son, by the way.
Yeah.
And he is
Yeah,
17?
17.
17. Yep.
I just got into Morehouse. Shout out to Morehouse.
Yes, he just got into Morehouse. We are all so excited and proud of him.
So, I think I started early with him on the financial literacy. I want to say it was a rapper some time ago. He came up with like a whole literacy program, and we put him through that. And so he understands how checking account work, how credit works, how those things work. And then after that, it's like constant conversations about, okay, so we did this. Do you understand how that works? And then sometimes you have to give it to me in your own words. Give me how you understand this, right? And even still in his mind, because he's young. Like, Dad's got money. That's all I know, right?
I was going to ask, what does he think? Right, yeah.
He pulls out the card. It's all on your card. You got it, right? And
but we've even had conversations recently in relation to college of him thinking of the cost of decisions, right? And his the fortitude he's going to need to take in this next step, right? Like we live in Chicago, he's going to college in Atlanta. We're not going to be there to monitor all these small decisions that are going to affect his life. And so we've been talking to him about how not filling out that application on a scholarship could cost you your books. Not following up on that financial aid could cost you your housing. So like he's at that inflection point where he's really learning the gravity of how finances are intertwined with his decision making.
Are some of the decisions that you guys are making leaving him the legacy as far as the generational wealth? Are you keeping him in mind, or what am I going to leave to him? And then even talking to him, showing him these investments that you guys have, not like the financial market stuff, but even just the real estate.
So he knows about the house. He's gonna help me do some stuff around there. He's aware that I own it, and I don't know if he looks at it as like a wealth building tool. The way that I think he probably just looks at it. This is just something my dad does, right? Very similar to how you were looking at it from your dad. I think at some point in the future he's gonna be like, oh, where is that gonna go after he's no longer? And then I think it'll hit him. But I think right now it's probably ignorance is bliss. And it's probably a good thing that it's bliss, right? Because it's not something he needs to worry about, right? Like he needs to just worry about getting through school. Similar to how you were talking about it.
Yeah.
Just get through school, take care of the stuff that you need to take care of, and then when you get to a point where you're good, then we'll bring you into some of this. We'll help you start your own thing. Maybe you buy your own. It starts off as a condo, and you rent a couple of rooms to your friends or something like that. Well, we can figure it out, but I think that the knowledge of knowing that it exists is good, because a lot of people just don't know, like, what that looks like, or know the resources to be able to get to certain things. And I think he knows at least where those resources.
Right. But does he ever see you guys, the management aspect, like, oh, my parents own these properties and they have to manage them, and this is he's okay.
So like he goes like so I manage my own my property myself. So when things break down, and if I can fix it, I'll go fix it. If I can't fix it, then I'll so like a lot of times he's with me and we go check it out, or we go try to take the thing apart, try to figure it out, and if we can't put it back together, then we go get somebody else who can, but put a couple hours in and figure some stuff out. I mean, he's fixed toilets, he's fixed sinks, he's like, I mean, I put him through the steps, and genuinely he's good with his hands. So you show him the video on YouTube, he's like, okay, this is what it takes to do it. All right, boom. And you leave him alone and you let him do it, and then of course you just test it afterward to make sure it works.
I think it's like for him, he's just thinking, oh, these are like errands that I get to like earn a little cash from my dad. But he hasn't like quite pieced together that like he's learning how to manage property.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas like if he zoomed out, he would realize even while he's down there in Atlanta, he could be earning money, helping people like with these jobs. So I think it's like we're at that place too to help him connect dots with all this cumulative passive experience and how it could like help his future in the near term.
Yeah. And the reason I always bring that up with my friends being in real estate, I know a lot of people who don't talk to their kids about it, and they are landlords and they are flipping property and all of that, but the kids know nothing about what you're doing. But that's always to me the gap, or we're not talking to our kids about this is something that you can do. I still want you to pursue whatever your dreams and your career goals are, but this is another lane. This is another stream of income. I'm always about other streams of income.
So my dad was a HVAC guy, and so he would always try to take me to. I don't know anything about HVAC, but he would take me to all these little side jobs that he would get, and literally, I mean, I'm in there with him. We're busting knuckles to get stuff done. So like a lot of the stuff that I learned to do, I may not remember it all how to do it, but YouTube University is amazing. It has everything that you want to do on YouTube. And so I will sit up there and I'll pull a video up. I just did it with your car. I replaced the mirror. I literally she was talking to me. She was like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm just going to see how I replace this thing real quick. And all right, I can do this. And then we just go and do it, right? And then so like, a lot of times I'll do that with my son. I'm like, all right, watch this video. All right, this is what I want you to do. And then he'll get out there and he'll be trying to figure it out. I mean, you make missteps. Like, I don't understand what this is versus this. And then you just kind of coach them through it. Like, watch this part again. Sometimes you got to watch it a couple of times to see what you're looking for.
But that's how he'll learn, right? And so that's the best way to learn. Yeah. So I love that. So what's one piece of advice that you guys would give couples looking to invest, whether it's real estate or find just other investment strategies, your friends, family who come to you all or looking at what you guys are building? What's some advice that you would give?
I would say for couples, I still would not ever change how and when we discussed money. I do think it's important earlier on to talk about how you view money. Because I think that like we learned like in real time, I had to adapt to the fact that we have very separate worldviews on how money and investing were going to like shape our future. So I do think like having conversations about where someone's thoughts previously were about money and like what they hope to build. Not just in like I want to have a house and be comfortable, but it's like, what does that actually mean to you? What does enough look like to you? I think that's really important for couples I think about. And I think like in general, when people are considering real estate as an option for investing, they should really like set clear goals about their intentionality and like measure over time, like what they plan to do to put that in place.
Got it.
I agree. I don't have anything on that.
Okay. All right. No, that was good. I appreciate that. I know that even me looking at you guys and what you're doing, like, so I'm curious, what would be the advice be? But that's exactly what. Yeah.
Don't tell them how much money you make, friend. Like, keep all of that to yourself. But as that man, person, whatever, how do you feel about money and what does that really mean to you?
No, and especially at our big age, it is a conversation.
Whoa. Aggressive.
I'm sorry.
Like,
you're coming.
Not on the internet. Not my big age on the internet.
Her big age. She's hitting her bigger age.
40.
soon.
I got you.
They've all
She's
hit the club.
she's gonna be joining the 40 club. She is the baby of our friend group. But but I'm just saying, even as me dating, I mean, these are conversations that is how you approach them. And yes, no, you don't have to give everything out in the beginning. But I think
that a good question is like, what does success really look like?
oh, absolutely.
Because that will give you an idea. Because um, one person's dream
Mhm.
may be to live in a high rise apartment,
Mhm.
whereas another person wants to live on a farm.
Mhm.
And both of them feel like they're being successful.
Mhm.
And so that will tell you like what you're really getting ready to
Right.
live into as far as
Yeah.
success.
Because I think like rewinding back, me and you both knew that like we had the same starting place coming into our relationship. And then what we learned is that like I was like, and we're finished. And he's like, oh, we're just beginning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right.
So it's like we then had to figure out like what's this like messy
Mhm.
middle of like my delusion and his passionate drive.
Mhm. Well, and I think behavior plays a part in it too. Like even dating, and that's that period where I'm watching how you move.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
You can tell me a lot, but I
Man.
need to see it
And you
too.
will.
So yeah, and you will see it.
When people show you who you are, who
Believe
they are,
them.
believe them.
Absolutely.
Because they will tell you exactly who they are. Give them long enough time to talk about themselves. They will tell
Yeah,
you
they will show,
exactly who
and
they
not
are.
only just personally, business wise, what they're
Yeah.
doing, with their life, with their career, with their
Mhm.
just behavior and
Yeah.
watching it. So that's
right.
key. So as we're about to wrap up in a few minutes, but I got some rapid fire questions. I'm gonna
Let's do it.
shoot them off, and we'll see. So first one. So who's more likely to pull the trigger on a risky investment? I think we already kind of answered
This
that was
guy.
Obi. But okay, so Obi
Go
is
spit it all.
definitely more likely to
I
go
would
all
bet that.
in.
Yep.
What's your go-to way to reset after a disagreement, business or personal?
Ooh, we usually give it. It takes a minute. We have to take a minute to take a beat,
Okay.
take a step back, and then it allows us to gain the perspective of where am I versus where are they? What were they saying versus what am I saying? And then being sometimes it doesn't always get resolved, right? Sometimes the forgiveness is just there. You have to be able to work with that. So I think that that level of empathy of understanding where your partner is and trying to meet them where they are. I think that that's extremely important. I think one of the things that we do really well is, and we just got into an argument not
On the way here,
not on the
I've
way
had
here.
that
No,
happen
no, no,
with
no.
some other couples.
No, this was
It's
like
minor,
maybe
but
last week or so. We got into it, and she was like, she's like mad about something, and then I was like, you know what, I could try to approach her now, but she's not gonna hear me right now.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna take a step back, and then when she was able to come back, we were able to kind of just sit in it, kind of deal with it amongst each other, and then kind of move on. So,
Yeah, I think in general, me and him are both extroverts that
Mhm.
recharge internally.
mhm.
So whenever we like find disagreement, it's rare that like we're gonna conquer that together. It's
Right.
like both of us need our own timeout
Yeah.
Mhm.
to figure out like where our heads are and get organized so that we're not hurtful or so that we're not like also unproductive in that
Right.
conversation. But then like that allows us to like come back and
Yeah. In the
meet
end,
each
like
other in the
she's my
middle.
partner, she's my friend,
Mhm.
That's
and I
right.
don't want to hurt my friend.
Right.
So even though she may be mad at me right now, me saying bad things or hurtful things are not. It's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna help us, I should say,
Mhm.
in whatever we're trying to build. Right. So
Right.
taking a step back to be able to say, all right, I'm not gonna say anything right now. Let me
Yeah.
just internalize it, and then we come back and we have a decent conversation about it.
Uh-oh,
Yeah,
they're
that's the
telling
tax
us to get
guy.
That
off
was
the air.
clear?
No, it's cool. We just a few more questions.
I
So
guarantee that's tax guys.
It was.
Yeah.
so real quick. Well, this one, I think we already know the answer to this. Of who's up at 2 a.m. coming up with the next big idea, but I think that's Ovi. So we've answered that, right?
Very
Okay,
much so.
perfect. Dream investment property location is that Costa Rica or is it someplace else?
Yeah, I think this man's got his mind on like South America, Central
Okay,
America. He don't speak Spanish, just so we're clear.
Got it.
I
Se habla español.
Okay.
okay. I dream for me would be like South Africa
South
or
Africa.
I believe,
Kenya.
yes.
Yeah,
South Africa would be
Kenya
great.
dope.
Yeah,
Yep.
anywhere where the USD is converting
But
north of 10.
Absolutely. I
Like,
agree with that.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that's dream location. Biggest lesson you've learned from real estate?
Patience.
Patience.
You have to be patient in the things that you choose because it's an investment. So you're going to ride it out for a while, and you need to be patient in choosing what you're going to do.
Okay.
I'd say the same thing. I'd say the same thing. Patience.
Patience.
With the people that you work with, like with the contractors you may employ, with the tenants, it is patience. You're right.
Okay, patience. I like it. So, what's the dream business you'd start outside of real estate or investing?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have necessarily
Is it
have
the
one.
laundromat or
I
no?
like the
Well,
idea of laundromats.
this is dream
And
business.
yeah,
So,
I don't want to. Laundromats are scalable, and I know that, and I like the idea of what they represent. I know they're recession proof, but I don't know that if I had to choose a dream business, I don't dream to do business.
that actually is an answer.
That is real.
That is real. I mean, I ask people all the time, what would be your dream job? Some people say to not work.
My dream
Right.
job would probably just to be helping people. Like, if I
Okay.
could not have to be paid, and I would enjoy just helping people do things.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I feel like I may come off as a serious person, but I also think that I'm very funny. So if I had like a dream business, it would be like me opening up like a comedy club or like a lounge where I just got to like laugh and like also help young artists like explore their comedy. But that would just be me like goofing off, not really with the intention of how do I get rich, but like how do I like feel good about what I'm doing.
I love that. I never would have thought you would have given that answer, but
Which
you
is
do.
crazy because you know that I'm hilarious.
You are. She is hilarious.
Um,
And she likes to laugh, and clearly she loves the word delusional, but that's not
Loves the word
just
delusional.
like
I do.
she does. But no, but that actually, I can see that for you. I can see you doing that. Favorite date night activity that isn't about business, which
You know, events. We were always doing like little events. Chicago's got all kinds of stuff, and for $20, you can usually find something pretty interesting to do on a weeknight, and then on the weekend for about $50, you find something pretty interesting. I mean, we've done everything from cooking classes to dance classes to the sledding thing was pretty cool. We did that one time. I'm trying to think what was the best one that we did this year for me.
You don't know.
I don't know.
My favorite date that we've ever been on was when we took a flight to go to New York.
New York, yeah.
And we just like no bag, like just my
spontaneous,
wallet in a
Day
dream.
trip,
Yeah.
And like went to museums, like went to a day party, had like brunch, like it was just like random, and then flew back
and
that
spontaneous.
night.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was like just like an unscripted day.
Yeah, I think the best date that I've been on with you was probably the one we went to Colorado.
Meow Wolf.
Meow Wolf. That was an insane
That was a great day.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 4 or 5 hours we were in that.
One of the things I thought that you guys were gonna say, and maybe not, this is recent, so I had to bring this up.
Oh.
They have been puzzling like
Not
crazy.
Not they. She.
Fallon and Obi have been puzzling over. This has been going on since what, the beginning of the year?
Since the new year.
Just tell people, share, because actually I think it's super dope that you guys are doing this, because you're doing puzzles that are they're created for you, right, out of images or think pictures.
No,
or
so if I rewind back during the pandemic, I don't even know how he found it, but he had like taken a picture of us that I was one of my favorite pictures from one of our earliest dates, and he had turned it into a puzzle, and I came home and we put it together, and it was just like such like a moment of spawn, and we never did it again. And then we went to Japan a couple of years ago to buy, well, not to buy something, we went to visit and visited this like I don't even know how to describe it. This anime station,
a Gundam. It's like this like 6-story Gundam, and they made it into like obviously this anime machine. They made it into real life, and it was like a marvel for sure. It was like it's like this huge thing, and they had been moving and all kinds of stuff.
But he was able to buy a model there that we like took home, and we're like, oh yeah, one day we'll put that together. So like it just became one night where we're like, let's just put it, and it was like so fun and interactive and just like a different way to us connect. And then like it just then sparked him like I like doing something that is not me like actively being in the streets, like just like time to like plug in. So like I have like my puzzling time by myself. We have our puzzling time together, but
and
it's
I'll
been
just
fun.
jump on the game while she's puzzling. So
No, I mean, but you've been posting it, and I love that you're sharing it. Just because even some of the images that you're putting together, I mean, they're super cool. So I
Yeah.
applaud you, friend, for taking out the
And
time.
intricate. Like
They are and
they're
intricate
intricate
the
for sure.
time, but I can see that being a decompression from you from what you
Oh, for
do.
sure.
And I know you like artsy, crafty things sometimes. So I'm like, so it's just cool to see you do and to share it with people because you don't see a lot of people doing that.
Yeah.
So
For anybody who needs like, your own self like therapy
mhm.
time. I know like everybody was getting into like watercolors and like
Yeah.
coloring books for a while, but like get into puzzling. It's like super therapeutic and like just like a perfect cup of tea, chill out night.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to shout that out because I'm watching you doing it on and putting it online and sharing it with people, and I think that's cool.
Thanks,
That's cool.
friend. Thank you, friend.
So, Obi and Fallon, if you guys wouldn't mind, tell people, our watchers or our viewers or our listeners, how to connect with you all, if you don't mind. If they've got questions, we got people out there, relationships, investing, things like that. If they want to connect with you guys on social.
Yeah. You can find me on LinkedIn at Fallon Obomanu. You can also connect with me on Instagram under Nola Fife. That's not going to be easy for you to figure out, but if you can find Fallon Obomanu, it's Fallon backwards, Fife. Cheers to that.
You can find me on LinkedIn as Degogo Obomanu PMP. And then if you want to find me on Instagram, I'm Obi the Enforcer.
And I'll tag both of them in the repost and the replay of the show. So anybody that wants to follow you guys and see what you guys got going on, because you always are sharing
Yeah.
your life experiences, your traveling, the things like puzzling and what you guys are doing, which I always think is great for people to see as inspiration for Black love. So thank you guys for sharing that. So thank you so much, Fallon and Obi, my friends, for joining me today.
And if I just may, thank you so much for having us. It has
Absolutely.
been like such a
This has been good.
pleasure over the 12 years of our friendship, watching you blossom and grow. And this is just a culmination of all your talents.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
friend. Thank you. I'm so glad that you guys agreed to come on the show. I know some people get nervous. Obi was sweating in the beginning. He's stopped now,
No, I am.
but it's a relaxed environment. I just want my friends, family, people I know, don't know. Come on, let's have a real conversation and just talk. So, and that's what we did today. So your journey of your journey of merging love, marriage and business is truly inspiring. The way you guys have navigated real estate investing, both individually and as a couple, and your commitment to building generational wealth together is something I know our listeners will take to heart. So thank you guys for that. To all of our listeners, remember, partnership, whether in life or business, thrives on communication, trust, and a shared vision. When you align your goals and work toward financial freedom together, the possibilities are endless. Right? So if you missed part of today's episode, don't worry. You can catch the replay on IntellectualRadio.com, their YouTube channel, iHeartRadio after the show, and then across my social media platforms. Thank you for tuning in to the Inner Circle podcast, where real estate meets real life and real talk. I'm your host, your homegirl Jillian. You can connect with me as well through social media at Your Homegirl Jillian on Facebook and Instagram. Also at www.yourhomegirljillian.com. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I'm trying to think of all the places that I am. Or you can just give me a call, 630-364-0321. I am available for all of your real estate questions or even podcast questions. I'm looking for more guests in the coming weeks. If you know somebody that would be a great fit for the show, please give me a call or DM me and I'll connect with them. So until next time, stay focused, stay inspired, and keep building wealth together. So thank you, everybody. All right. We are good to go.